Hello, my name is Juan Velasquez, Solutions Engineer here at Globalli. And in this demo, I'm about to walk you through the full process of enrolling a global payroll employee, ensuring all information is captured correctly and fully compliant with local regulations. Before we begin, here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to start the new hire flow and selecting the correct employment type. Then we're going to complete the all employee information, role details, employment terms, and compensation. Then we're going to move to upload the relevant documents and setting up the compliant e-signatures. And finally, we're going to review the summary before sending a fully compliant offer to the employee. Let's begin. Okay, so here we are in the platform. We are here in the people's module, and to start the new hire process, we just click here in add new hire. And now we have the dialog of the three different employment types. First, we have to hire under global payroll. That is when the company already has a legal entity set up in that country. Then you can also hire under EOR when you don't have a legal entity set up in that country. So here Globalli becomes the legal employer on your behalf. Here, your team manages the employee day-to-day, while Globalli handles the contracts, compliance, payroll, and all the statutory obligations. And finally, we have the contractor that is used to onboard independent contractors, either as an individual or as a business entity. But today, we're going to go ahead and enroll a global payroll employee. So here we are in the first step of the form that is going to be capturing all the employee information. The first thing that we have to do is selecting the country that we're going to hire from. As soon as we select a country, the form is going to dynamically change based on the local compliance requirements. For instance, we're going to select Singapore, and immediately we're going to see that we have a new field that is the payroll type, as this field is mandatory by the Singapore Ministry of Manpower. So the platform has these compliance guardrails ensuring that the setup always follows the local regulations. But for example, if we switch countries, let's say Belgium, here we can see that the form is requesting now transportation details, since it's common in Belgium that companies provide a car as part of their benefits package. Now, no matter the country, the platform is going to always adapt, ensuring that each hiring flow stays compliant with local labor rules. Now, let's go back and select Singapore. Then we complete the rest of the basic fields. So for province, we select Central Singapore. The effective date, we're going to select today, 1st of December. Then the first name is going to be Ethan. Then last name Lin. We paste the email, and for the phone number, we just type here Singapore. The phone field is going to automatically add the correct country code. Finally, we select the payroll type, and we're started fully compliant with Singapore requirements. Now let's move to role information. So here we define where the employee is going to be a manager or not. Then we select the department. In this case, it's going to be research and development, and the role is going to be prototyping engineer. Here we can also specify the seniority. In this case, we're going to select mid-level. We're going to assign the manager. In this case, we're going to select Jonas Schneider. And then we add the GL codes that they're going to be set up during implementation, aligning with your accounting framework. Then this step I want to mention that is critical, because the information that we're going to plate here, especially the role and the manager, is going to automatically populate the organizational chart that lives in the people module that will be covered in a different video. Now let's move to the employment details. Here we're going to define the status. In this case, we're going to select full-time and select the contract type, which is going to be permanent. We're going to select the location as remote. Then the shift work, working hours, and workers' compensation class, they are going to be predefined during the implementation. So they are going to be available for quick selection. So we're going to select here, and here we're going to select this one. And then we're going to set up the contract hours. I'm going to place 160 for 40-hour weeks per pay cycle. And we're going to set the working days standard from Monday to Friday. And finally, we're going to select the time zone by typing Singapore. So here we have it. And then after we set up this, we can turn on the probation period in days if applicable. And then below that, we can set up any eligible overtime. So these rules can be configured during implementation. But for this example, we're going to turn off the probation period and the overtime rules. Now let's move to compensation. So here we are, and here we can set up the compensation with the local currency or the entity local currency. In this case can be the Singapore dollar or the USD. We're going to leave the Singapore dollar. Then we can define if it's going to be an annual or hourly rate, and then we just put the gross salary. Then on the right, you have the employer cost calculations, which automatically estimates the total employer cost by calculating the taxes and the social security contributions for that specific country. It also gives an overview of the employee's net salary after all these deductions. From here, then we can add other type of payments such as variable and recurring payments. Then we can have like the available leaves that have been configured by the company. In this case, we have the holiday leave for Singapore, and we're going to add only 20 days. And below that, if your company wants to offer equity, Globalli allows you to track equity compensation. So you can here select the equity type, you can select the issue date, the number of shares, all the vesting period, and even a stock purchase with the stock purchase plan with the waiting period. This makes it easy to handle both cash and non-cash components of compensation from one centralized view. Now, let's move to set up the documents. So here we are in the document section, and the first document that we're going to upload is the offer letter. So we click here in offer letter, continue. Perfect, to upload the document, we can use this drag and drop box. So let me just grab it over here and drop it here. Perfect. Now we continue, and now we can see the preview of the document here. And to set up the e-signature, we just click here in Setup e-sign. Now we see the pop-up, and the first thing that we see is the document that we have uploaded. Then we can set up the recipients. In this case, we only have Ethan as the only recipient, but we can add multiple recipients such as his manager or someone from the HR team, but we're going to leave him as the only person that needs to sign the document. We just click next. Now we can see the document and all the fields that we can add. So we have signature, date, initials, and even more. But for this document, we're just going to drag and drop the signature over here. Perfect. And the date here. Perfect. Now we're happy of how we set up the document. So now we just click save and close. And the document now is fully set up for Ethan to sign during the self-service onboarding flow. Now we continue. Now we are in additional documents. So here we can add any specific documents for that employee. But in general, if you want to add documents for all the employees of a specific country, during implementation, you can add them so you don't have to attach them each time that you add a new hire in the platform. So I already have set up all the documents for the Singapore employees. So now we just continue. Perfect. And now we're prompted to the same flow that we did for the offer letter, but now for the employment agreement. So we click here in employment agreement, continue. Let me just drag and drop again the file. Okay, just drop it here. Perfect, here we have it. And now we're going to do the same flow of setting up the signature. So we have the preview here. We click here in setup design. Perfect, we see the document. We're going to leave Ethan as the only recipient again. We click next. Then we have the document over here. Let me just scroll down. Perfect, I'm just going to drag the signature over here. Perfect. Again, we're happy with how we have set up the document. We save and close, and the employment agreement as the offer letter now are fully set up for Ethan to sign during the self-service onboarding flow. Now, let's continue to the summary. Finally, we arrive to the summary page, which consolidates all the information we have entered. Here we have the employee details, role information, compensation, and even the links to the documents that we have uploaded. On the right, we also have the employer cost calculator that we saw earlier for a quick reference on the total employer costs. Now I want to mention that Globalli operates on a license system based, depending on the type of employee that we're adding. This can be an administrator, manager, or an employee. For this company, I have already set up multiple licenses, so as soon as I click continue, it will immediately send the invitation to the employee. However, if no licenses are available, the platform will automatically add an extra step where you're going to be prompted to select the license that you need and complete the purchase directly through a secure checkout. This can be paid by credit card or through an invoice me option. This ensures that you can add a team member without interrupting your workflow. Then now we just continue. Perfect. And now the employee is going to receive an email invitation to register into the platform and start the self-service onboarding flow, where they can confirm their details, sign the documents, and get ready for the first step. And that's how easy it is to capture the employee enroll information, set up documents, and sell a fully compliant offer for a global payroll employee using Global.